Hey seed hunters, I've collected 20 new amazing Minecraft seeds that you need to check out. We've got loads of beautiful terrain right at spawn, islands you'll be desperate to survive on, a floating jungle dungeon in the sky, and possibly the best winter spawn ever found. There's so much to uncover. Here are the 20 best seeds found this month in Minecraft. This seed has a village island with possibly the best view that any village island has ever had. Whether you come to this island to trade, survive, or simply admire the view, this one is bound to leave you inspired. The island is super steep, and the village sits right at the very top, but there's some houses down by the water too, so maybe you could connect them. On one side of the island, you'll look out over the endless ocean, and on the other side, you've got an incredible view of a beautiful mountain coastline. Imagine building majestic bridges that connect the village to the surrounding cliffs, with a city of cliff face houses that span the entire coast. If you're looking for a snowy seed that will take your breath away this winter, you've got to check out this one that spawns you way up on a windswept ice spikes mountain, with one singular spike that rises higher than the rest, giving you an unbeatable view of the frozen terrain below. If you've ever wanted to build an ice spikes base, there's no better spike than this one. From up here, you literally feel like you're on top of the world, and you could even build a gigantic ladder through the ice spike down through the mountain to reach the world below. From an ice fortress that pierces the clouds to a sky-high frozen observation deck, this one has so many opportunities. This seed has a really nice spawn with a cherry mountain surrounded by a river, a jungle village close by, and some wide open plains with jagged peaks in the distance. But there's one village in this seed that you need to travel to because it's got some amazing underground secrets. Head into the desert and you'll come across this village with an outpost lurking nearby. It's no wonder the pillagers have their eyes on this village, because underneath it, you can find a stronghold with not one, but two end portals, with one stacked on top of the other. You can jump from one end portal room to the other. What makes this stronghold even more unique is the fact that there's a staircase that leads you directly into a trial chamber. This next seed has a really cool village and mansion combination, but first, it's worth exploring Spawn a little because it's got some of the best spawn terrain I've ever seen. Right at the start of your adventure, you've got some river islands surrounded by dense forests in all directions, and just around the corner, you've got a beautiful valley where rivers, forests, and steep meadow hills combine to create a perfect location for building a base. This is exactly where I'd be setting up my home if I were to choose this seed. And just across from this area is where you'll find a mansion that is buried into the wall of a meadow crater. There's even a village and a ruined portal right on top of the mansion too. You could even live in here and build a staircase up to the mansion for whenever you want to leave the crater and explore the world. If I were to tell you that you could spawn on a floating chunk of blocks where village houses are suspended high above the world, with cascading waterfalls creating natural elevators to the rest of the village below, you probably wouldn't believe me. But it's possible. And the possible things you could do with this sky village are endless. It's such a unique and fun spawn. It's perfect for those who love the unusual. There's even a ruined portal room halfway up the floating chunk with a great view of the landscape below. Not quite as good as the views from the houses at the very top though. You can even spot a mushroom island off in the distance. There's an area you can find in this seed that I think would be a builder's paradise. I think it offers the perfect blend of space and scenery. You've got a spacious and reasonably flat mixed forest that is just the right size for all your friends to build in, or even on your own. The forest is separated from the rest of the world by mountains on one side and ocean on the other side. So if you decide to set up your base here, you'll be able to set out on adventures by trekking over the peaks or dive off the sheer cliffs and explore the sparkling ocean below. This seed gives you an unbelievable spawn, where two structures are trying to have a competition to see who can generate the tallest, and it looks like the desert temple has come out on top. You actually spawn all the way up here on top of the temple, where you've got incredible views of the desert below. I've spotted a few more temples which look so tiny compared to this thing. Oh, and there's a ruined portal up here too, but my favourite thing about this is the fact that you can walk straight through the outpost and into the TNT treasure room. And you get to watch pillagers fall over 100 blocks. That's always fun. Up next is a seed that spawns you on a mountain island in the middle of the ocean. But this mountain island has a few special features that I think make it stand out. The island's main attraction is this deep sinkhole that you can find just over the peaks of the mountain. There's a lake nestled at the bottom of it, and steep cliffs with exposed caves surrounding it. I think it would be a cool place to set up a cave base on your new island. To top this island off, there's also some trail ruins, a village down by the shore, a ruined portal, and mushroom islands in all directions. If you're looking for a seed to warm you up a bit this winter, you might like to spawn in the Badlands. I really like how this one spawns you in the middle of a valley with eroded badlands on either side. At one end of the valley you'll find a temple, and at the other you can find a village, so you'll be able to get off to a great start. If you sail down this 2,000 block long river, you'll eventually end up at a beautiful location where stony peaks have formed a giant crater that has enough room to build anything you could possibly imagine. You've probably moved into a mansion and turned it into your home before, but I bet you've never built a base directly underneath one. This seed gives you the perfect opportunity to do that because this extra tall mansion right by spawn has a cave directly underneath it that couldn't have generated more perfectly. Move on in and set up your secret base while you plan your mansion raid. Or you could even transform the mansion and turn this cave into the mansion's treasure vault. There's loads of nice terrain around spawn too. There's even a village and a forest island that sit at a point where a river splits into 6 different directions. If you're looking for a survival island spawn that has great potential to become a long-term survival world, it doesn't get much better than this, because this island sits in the middle of every biome in the game. In fact, you can find every overworld biome within plus or minus 1,500 blocks from spawn. If you want a small, relaxing island to call home, but also want opportunity to explore, you should definitely give this one a try. Build yourself a dock, and you'll be able to sail quickly over into the jungle, to a mushroom island, or even to a snowy mountain. You can go anywhere your heart desires. Speaking of chill and laid-back survival island spawns, I think this might be the most peaceful island spawn in Minecraft. This island is actually made up of 2 islands, but they're both covered in flowers. The outer ring is full of flower forest, while the middle has a sunflower field. I love how the middle island has generated with just one singular tree and plenty of open flat land for building. And the way it's surrounded by a circular river and flower forest full of trees give it a really nice contrast. I can just imagine a build right in the middle with small footbridges crossing the river all around it. This seed has one of Minecraft's rarest discoveries lately, a zombie dungeon flying in the sky. You'll usually only come across dungeons hidden away underground out of sight, but this one is fully exposed, high up in the sky, inside of a floating bamboo jungle skyblock. This has got to be the coolest place to set up an EXP farm. You know there's something special about this seed when there's even brown pandas spawning on the skyblock too. There's loads more interesting jungle terrain close by too, so I'm sure you could build something really fun here. There's only one place a dungeon could generate that would be even crazier than that, and that's right above an end portal. Imagine you're on course to beat your personal best speedrun time, and as soon as you're about to jump into the end, you get attacked by spiders falling from the sky. It's not every day you get to come across a naturally generated floating monster spawner. I wonder if it's possible for spiders to fall into the end too. Now, I'm no sailor, but I'm pretty sure this village is home to the worst boat captain in Minecraft history. How on earth did they manage to dock their boat sideways, above the water, and on the side of a woodland mansion? Minecraft just keeps getting crazier, and you can find these crazy structures in a really beautiful location. In the middle of this large lake, you can find a mansion, a village, a shipwreck, and there's even an outpost inside of the mansion too, which is probably why there are allays flying around everywhere. And if you dive below the village, you can find a trial chamber underneath all of this craziness too. This seed is an all-round amazing survival seed too, because not only is the lake surrounded by snowy mountains, beautiful meadows and dense forests, but it looks like there's plenty of jungle and eroded badlands off in the distance too. If you'd like a break from structures and would rather build up your own little kingdom, I think this would be a really nice mountain island to spawn on. It's nothing too crazy and it's pretty simple really, but I think it's got a nice charm to it. There's a mountain in the middle with some long, winding caves to explore, cherry grove and mixed forest, and some empty plains for farming on. If you're looking for something laid back, this might be a nice one to try. Before we get onto more unbelievable structure seeds, here's another survival island spawner that's even simpler. If you want to be surrounded by ocean, go back to basics, and pretend you're back in old Minecraft, this island is perfect. The island comes with 2 types of trees, a nice sized beach, and it's probably the flattest island I've ever seen, which makes it really beginner friendly for new builders. Something interesting about this island is that there's a naturally generated viewing platform to watch over your island. Maybe you could build a house up here and watch your crops grow from above. Up next is an incredible seed with a special feature that we all dream of stumbling across. Spawn is packed with cherry groves and forest islands. It's a great seed for both building and exploring. But the nearest village to spawn is where you should head first, because you won't believe what's below it. Dig below the village and you'll drop into a stronghold with an already complete 12-eye end portal. The rarest feature you could ever find in Minecraft, and it's just 300 blocks from spawn. Anyone down for a speedrun? This seed might have the craziest mansion I've ever seen, because not only is it absolutely massive, but it's covered from top to toe in vines. It's surrounded by crazy sky-high aquifers, and it's combined with loads of structures too. You can find this monstrosity in the middle of a deep jungle lake with a jungle temple keeping its distance and wondering if it should join in the party. In the middle of the lake, the mansion combines with a village, and there's some cool tunnels that lead down into a sinkhole which could make for some fun building potential. There's even an ocean monument right under the village, and way up at the top of the mansion, there's a pillager outpost that you might not have noticed until you got up here. Just look at the view that these pillagers get to enjoy. If you're down for an epic snowy adventure this winter, this seed gives you the best possible start. This is probably one of the best Minecraft spawns I've ever shown you. In this seed, your adventure starts in the middle of a circular plains biome with not one but 4 villages that can all be found around the edge of the circle. With 4 villages to trade with and plenty of space for building in the center of the circle, it really is a dream start. One of the villages leads you to an ice spikes biome, which could be a good place to start exploring the snowy terrain that surrounds you. Or you could just stay in the circle and never leave. Turn the villages into one big city and build a giant dome to protect the villagers from the cold. I'd love to know what you do with this one. Let me know in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed these seeds. If you did, drop a like and subscribe if you want to keep up to date with the greatest seed discoveries. If you'd like to check out even more amazing seeds, including an end portal that leads you into a trial chamber, click the video on screen now before this video comes to an end.